another Kevin Arrington video. It's Art here with the Season 5, the final season of Star Trek Discovery Season Review. Oh boy, did this try to be way too much than it should have been, but yet at some points it hit great notes as well. It harkened back to Star Trek's history, it harkened back to TNG specifically with the characters that thrust the main plot forward. And I'm not talking about the crew of the Discovery. I'm talking about the characters that you meet early on in the show, but I'm not going to spoil it because you know how I do spoiler-free things. It was very, very, very good in parts, but it was overly stupid in parts too. Which is part and parcel for what's become known as Kurtzman Trek. Because you've got Berman Trek, you've got Roddenberry Trek, Berman Trek, and you've got Kurtzman Trek. Roddenberry and Berman are much more well thought of than Kurtzman Trek. Now, I am a fan of Star Trek that's good. I'm a fan of Star Trek that's entertaining, and Discovery was entertaining to some degree. I am a fan of Star Trek that makes logical sense, though, and doesn't lean on literary and narrative tropes like Mary Sue's. Discovery is guilty as charged on that front. I do love the character of Saru. I love the character of now Lieutenant Tilly. I love the character of Commander Stamets, and I love the supporting cast. My main gripe is with the character of Michael Burnham, not the way Shaniqua Martin Green plays her, because I think she plays her to the best of her ability and really shows off her acting chops. I have a problem with the way that she's written. I have a problem with the way she's used. I have a problem with the way it's executed. Here's my problems. My problems are, if there's a problem that they can't solve their way out of, oh well, Burnham can do it. Oh well, Burnham will be the savior of everything. Realistically, as captain, she wouldn't go put herself on that many dangerous missions. Remember TNG when Commander William Riker, the first officer, was going on the dangerous missions? The reason is because the captain stays with the ship. Burnham hardly ever, almost never stays with the ship. She's more like a Kirk captain in that sense. Now granted, I'll grant you that Discovery expounds the expanse of the Star Trek timeline. They played in a period, for the first couple seasons, in a period that was before the original series, and they jumped to well after any series that we once knew. This was to not contaminate the timeline. Thank God they did that. I'm not saying that Discovery is a terrible show. I think it's interesting, but I also think it's very, very flawed and plays on too many tropes. It brings back characters and races that I think need to be expounded upon, but it doesn't deal with questions and tropes that it just leaves open. It just leaves them like hanging chads and never truly solves them. But in an all-encompassing Season 5, I guess you could say this is their best from point A to point Z arc of a season. That being said, that doesn't mean that this was the best season. It doesn't mean it was the worst. But I would say it was the most convoluted. It was the most ham-fisted. It was the most delusional and deluded series of Star Trek possibly ever made. Or season of Star Trek possibly ever made. The series itself kind of follows its own wobbly arc. I say wobbly because it's never in a straight line, and it's never as good as it should be. But Burnham, if they use her the way they use her, she's too smart to be the captain of a starship, because she's too much of a valuable asset to be risked out in open space. And by God, they risk her all the time. They try to make her this important character. Now, Discovery is flawed in a way, because if you look at TNG, you look at the original series, you look at Enterprise, hell, you even look at Voyager, you look at DS9, it's an ensemble cast. The entire crew is important. In this series, Discovery by itself, and including this season, Season 5, Michael Burnham is the most important, followed by her love interest, followed by the rest of her crew, some of which you can name and some of which you cannot. And the fact that we don't know all the names of the bridge crew and we don't know all the importance of the bridge crew is a huge, gigantically, diametrically opposed problem in Star Trek lore. I can name you every single one of the bridge crew officers on Enterprise, every single one of the bridge crew officers on the original series, every single one of the bridge crew officers on TNG and DS9 and Voyager, and so on and so forth. Hell, I can even name you the bridge crew on Strange New Worlds, because that's run better. I could name you the crew on Picard Season 3, Season 2 and 1. It doesn't matter. That was its own mess of itself. But besides Stamets, the Doctor, Lieutenant Tilly, Captain Saru, and this new commander, that's all you can name. You can't really name the helmsman. You can't really name the science officer, the tactical officer. Their names are mentioned, but we don't know any of their backstory. They're not important. They could have been played by different actors every week and no one would have noticed, because they weren't important. This is the first show Discovery, other than Picard, but Picard you knew going in that it was going to be about Picard. You knew that going in because, for God's sakes, it was called Star Trek Picard. But Discovery in and of itself is the only Star Trek show, with that one caveat, also a Kurtzman show, that deals primarily with one central character. And that's the problem with the show, in my opinion. That's the problem with Season 5, is Burnham becomes the savior again in ways I won't spoil, but it's the same as the first 4 seasons. It felt like rinse and repeat. Now, was it fun? But at parts, yes. But at parts, it was so stupid. There was one scene where she had to profess her love to her love interest, and it was the exact wrong time to do that in. Because they were on an enemy ship, and they were trying to get back they were on an infiltration mission to get something back that was stolen from them. And it's like, you don't have time to stop and perfect your love. This is not the time to work out your relationship quarrel. But oh my God, in Kurtzman Trek, there's always time for that. Like, that was just the dumbest scene in the entire series, let alone Season 5. Was it entertaining? Part yes, part no. Was the final episode and the final moments touching? In a way, yes, but in a way, no. Because even the final shot is her on the ship. Like, it was so dumb. It should have been the entire crew. It was just her. It was so stupid. So dumb. I certainly wouldn't have done it the way they did it. So, how many cups of Earl Grey tea would I give it? Well, that's easy. it gets a middle-of-the-road average 5 out of 10 Earl Grey cups of tea. Certainly, if you're a Star Trek fan, you may like the show. I can find things to like about it, but then again, I can find things to like about other series I don't like Voyager in the Star Trek world. So, and I'm not saying by any means that this is a terrible Star Trek series, but it's the most disjointed, discombobulated, fractured Star Trek show of all time. I think they got the concept, and just like in Voyager, they didn't realize what they were doing, and they didn't know how to get from point A, the beginning of the show, to point Z, to the end of the show. And believe me, watching the whole thing from start to finish, it showed. Not only in this season, season 5, but it showed over the entire arc of the show, of the show's run itself. So, those are my thoughts on the final season, and in fact, the full run of Discovery. Leave in the comments down below what you thought of Discovery. I hope you liked it more than I did. I enjoyed parts of it. I enjoyed Stamets, I enjoyed Tilly, and there were certain episodes of the show that were really good, and there were certain seasons of the show that really pushed the envelope of what true Trek is. The problem is they stretched that envelope a little bit too far till it broke. But leave in the comments down below what you thought of Star Trek Discovery. Whether you're going to watch it or you have seen it, let me know that in the comments down below. But you know I make videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday at 12:30 p.m. Central, 10:30 a.m. Pacific, 1:30 p.m. Eastern. Please like, comment, subscribe if you want to see more. Please ding the notification bell to be notified when I upload a video. And without further ado, happy watching. I'll see you again soon. And engage.